I tell people, what I'm doing, and they say, "Oh, you're doing that with a." Oh, I've made apple butter. I make it in my kitchen with a crock pot. And I'm like, it's a little bit more complicated the way I do it, just because we do it 40 gallons at a time, and then people's eyes get big.
When I was a kid, apple butter was a special and rare treat at our house. And it wasn't even the homemade kind. It was just from the store, but I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite spread for toast. And when Katie invited me to her family's apple butter making day, I really thought that I was going to be going to learn how to do it. But what I found out was that there was this great story of a family who has carried on this tradition for nearly 80 years. That's absolutely incredible. My dogs are noisy. This is good. I wish I could describe the flavor of this to you. It's really different than any apple butter I've had. It's almost like I can taste the smoky flavor in it. It's really yummy. My friend Elise once told me that when she would bake things or cook things for people who were ill or grieving, that while she did it, she would think about them. She would put her love into the meal that she was preparing, and she really thought that that added some restorative or comforting quality to the food, that the people would actually be able to I don't know how to say this because I don't want it to be weird, not like absorb it into their body, but that it would actually, in my terms, it would minister to them. And in her terms, I don't think that's the way she would put it, but I think it's the same intent, that it would do good for them because of the love and the time that she had put into it. And at the time, to me, that sounded like a little bit kind of, I don't know, just an odd thing to say, but I actually think it's true now. I think that when you lovingly prepare food for someone, that there's something different. There's a different quality about the food. And this apple butter, I think I can taste the love in it. I can taste the family tradition. I can taste the time and effort that went into it. It really does make a difference.
The small town I grew up in, Enon Valley, Pennsylvania, there's a Presbyterian church there, Enon Presbyterian Church. That's my home church that I grew up in. And the Women's Association every year would do a fundraiser, and the entire church would pitch in. They would do 4 or 5 kettles a day for an entire week.
Wow.
So it was a lot of apple butter. And there was a gentleman who was a member of our church who owned an orchard, so that helped. So I think they would get all of his seconds from his orchard to be able to make the apple butters.
This involves a lot of the things that I love doing. I like being outside, I like cooking, and I like fire. So all 3 of those things together is just kind of a sweet spot for me.
Western Pennsylvania, Enon Valley, is about 40 miles north of Pittsburgh. And when the steel mill industry started declining, the population in the area, they call it the Great Diaspora of Pittsburgh, because as the mills shut down, families had to move to find jobs. And because of that, the church population dwindled also. So it became very difficult to have enough people to put this show together when they no longer did it in a church. And they did it for 60 years, over 60 years. And I think the last time they did it was sometime in the 90s. I don't remember exactly. But my mom and my dad thought that it would be a great idea for our family, my mom especially. She was more the one who liked to bring folks together. My dad enjoyed it, but he didn't like the organizing of it. So they bought a kettle.
I mean, copper is very conductive, so it conducts the heat better. It's traditional, so that's why it was originally used, because it was easily manufactured. So it's hammered copper, and they basically do the ring, and the bottom piece is a separate piece, and they braise that together. So if you, after it gets cleaned back up again, if you look inside, you'll see kind of a sawtooth that goes around, and that's where they cut the two pieces together, and then braise them together. So this is made by a company in Ohio that's been making kettles and copper works for about 150 years.
A member of the town had one just sitting in a shed somewhere doing nothing with it, so they ended up buying it from it, and every year for the last 14 or 15 years, I think it is, we gather for a weekend in October. It's usually toward later in October, because the apples have to be in, and it's nicer. It's a beautiful day today, but it's usually better to have it colder, or at least have it been cold, so it kills off the insects. So you don't have to worry about bees or anything, especially around the kettle. And so we gather. Friday for us is prep day, and that consists of chopping up the apples, taking the seeds out, and then making the applesauce. And that's usually start at 8 o'clock in the morning, finish up early afternoon. And the applesauce is stored in 5-gallon buckets overnight, and then the fire gets started. Whoever wants to decide to get up early enough. It used to be that the fire was 6 o'clock, got to start at 6 o'clock. We've started a little bit earlier the last couple of times. And it depends on the weather too, because if rain is being predicted in the afternoon, you want to get it on a little sooner, because the humidity in the air, the weather of the day affects the evaporation of the kettle also. And basically you are boiling down. In Pennsylvania, we have a 30-gallon kettle, so we generally do 30 gallons of applesauce, so 6 buckets, and that gets boiled down to anywhere between 14 and 16 gallons of apple butter is what we end up with. So that's usually a 2-for-1 ratio.
After we add the brown sugar in, we stir for 30 minutes to get it incorporated. Then we add the white sugar in, stir that until it's incorporated, and then you cook some more. So it needs to caramelize some, it needs to boil out a little more of the water, and then at some point when it looks like it's about done, we go and we get a plate and we get a spoon, and you daub some out, and then you basically run the spoon backwards through it, and what you're looking for is whether or not water basically comes out of the two mountains on either side of the apple butter.
You know, I grew up with it, so it's kind of in my blood, and I think Justin caught the bug too. He's very much like my mom, in the sense that, you know, he likes to bring the community together, and you know, it's just a family tradition.
It's something that I did growing up with my family, and so living in Missouri with my grandparents and a lot of my extended family living in Pennsylvania, I don't necessarily get to do a lot of the stuff that I grew up doing. And so one year, as we were making apple butter, I thought I should really pay attention to what's going on, so that if, you know, something happens where they're not able to carry it on, somebody will be able to. You know, it's been going on for so long that you know, it'd be a shame to have that tradition go away. It's fun for me, so it's got to be. I'd imagine that it would be fun for other people to do as well. So we've got, I think, 10 kids here now. So this is something that they're going to remember, you know, as they get older and as they grow up, and hopefully they'll help, you know, carry on the tradition as we're doing it.
The sound of a ping is the sound of success.